Good evening and welcome to our first town hall meeting about Census 2020. My name is Jacqueline Quiles and I'm the Deputy Mayor for Community Engagement for the City of Newark. Yeah, you could come forward. Okay. Today we will learn why Census 2020 is safe, it's easy, and it's important. And many other subjects presented by the Census Office Director Jeff Baylor that is here with us today. Census 2020 is safe because Title 13 law protects you. It is against the law for Census Office to share your information with the federal, state, or local agency. Census 2020, it is easy. Why is easy? Because you could answer the census in 4 different ways. For the first time ever, you could do so by using your computer, smartphone, tablet, or by calling the 1-800 number. This is only going to take you a few minutes, and you only have to answer 9 questions. Census 2020, it's important because more than $695 billion are going to be distributed throughout the nation. This funding, we need it in Newark. We want to make sure we get our fair share to pay for schools, hospitals, roads, public work, and many other vital programs our residents are counting on. We simply cannot afford to be undercounted. The City of Newark has been working on the census for the last 2 years. We conducted more than 38 job fairs throughout the city and every ward. So far, we have 5,181 Newark residents ready to work for the census. And the great thing that I'm going to share with you guys today is that you still have time to apply for the census. And the great thing, you could make your own schedule. You could work part-time, you could work full-time, you could work on weekends, and you could get paid from $22 to $35 an hour. All you have to do is log in to 2020census.gov/jobs. You have to be 18 years and over. You have to be a USA citizen, and you cannot have a criminal record. So make sure you share this information with your neighbors, with your church, with the school, and everyone you talk to. These jobs are open right now, and you could apply, and all you have to do is log in. But we're going to talk more about that with the director that's here today with us. But at this time, I have the honor to present to you a person that's working with me hand by hand here in the South Ward, making sure every resident knows about the census. And this is Councilman John James.
Good evening, good evening. I'd like to thank Deputy Mayor Quiles for coming with her team. Again, they've been working on this for 2 years. We have a census director here with us. We can't stress enough that if we don't show them the numbers, they don't send the money from the federal government. Now, you know how chaotic it is down in Washington. So we need to make sure we employ as many Newarkers as possible. We get out there and ring every doorbell. We stop at every center. We get every individual signed up so we know their information. If they don't have the numbers, they will not send the money. It's no simpler put than that. And this is an opportunity for Newarkers to receive some income. Everyone wants some income, right? All right? So, you know, you can buy gifts for your loved ones, pay some extra bills. Linda Washington can get a new instrument to sing, you know. So we got a lot of people out there, and we want to make sure that whatever resource the government allows us to utilize, we utilize it to the fullest, and the census is one method to get that accomplished. So I want to thank you all for coming out. We've been putting out the information for a regular basis now, but make sure you go online and actually apply for the job. These resources will not come to us if we don't have the right numbers, all right? Just keep that in mind. So thank you. And we also have from the mayor's office, Natasha Allen. You want to say anything? You're right. And she is working here with me hand in hand to make sure we bring every resource out to the community, the residents of South Ward. Without further ado, you're going to bring up Jeff? All right.
Introduce Natasha. You want to say a few words? This is our mayor's aide. She's going to say a few words.
Good evening, all. Again, I am Natasha Allen. I am Mayor Baraka's senior aide for the South Ward. I am here pretty much the same as all of us are to gather information and get people, the wisdom and the understanding of how important this Census 2020 is. Also, our office, we do get a lot of requests for employment, so it's good to know, the pay range and all of those things that we can assist, Norcas to have a job and to become involved in understanding how important it is so that we do get the resources. Because one of the things we hear a lot is the complaints about why Norc doesn't have anything, but the one thing that we don't do is that we don't encourage other people to get involved. So more than just your household, we have to talk to our neighbors, and we also have to let them understand why it's important to have their small children counted in the census as well, because that gives us funding for schools, playgrounds, parks, and all of those things. So we want to make sure that each and every person is being accounted for regardless of their immigration status. Regardless of the immigration status, we need to implore that everyone is getting counted for this Census 2020, and that's all I have. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you, Natasha. We're going to talk about all that information. Everyone is counted in our city. And at this time, I'm going to bring the director of the census, Jeff Bellier. Thank you, Jeff. At the end of the presentation, he's going to be able to answer questions.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Thank you, Councilman, Senior Aide. Good evening, everybody. Again, my name is Jeff Baylor. I'm the director for the U.S. Census Bureau's New York office. It's one of 6 offices we have across the country, and we're responsible from New Jersey all the way up to Maine and everything in between, and Puerto Rico. So that's the territory we're responsible for. So there's 2 things I want to talk to you tonight about. The first are jobs, which you heard about. The majority of jobs here in the city of Newark, the majority pay $21 an hour. That's not a bad gig. And these really are gig jobs because you work on one of our operations. Operations typically last anywhere from maybe 8 weeks to 12 weeks. So these are short-term, temporary jobs. And as was mentioned earlier, you choose your own schedule. So if you want to work 2 hours every evening and 8 hours on Saturday and Sunday, you can do that. You tell us what hours you work, and then we're going to give you a workload to match that to make you successful. That's the best thing about these jobs. No one has to quit their full-time job to come work for us. No one. All right? When you think about a census, we do this once every 10 years. We've been doing it since 1790. You're a part of history when you work on a census. You support your community. No better way to support your community in a census than to go out there and collect data. You know your community. You know the languages they speak. You know the cultures. You know the challenges. We need you to work in your own community and then make some great money. Paid training, again, $21 an hour, official mileage reimbursement while on duty, and if you take mass transit to use for your work assignment, you'll be reimbursed mass transit costs as well. All right? Go online, 2020census.gov/jobs. They have Maribel and Deputy Mayor brought some computers. If you want to sign up for jobs tonight, we have staff here who can help you fill it out. Again, as Deputy Mayor mentioned, you could apply online on your phone, formatted for your smartphones and for tablets. So we need you to share that information, because if we're going to send people to knock on doors in your neighborhoods, we want it to be you. All right, we don't need to be bussing people in from other neighborhoods in order to knock on doors. It's important that the census is local. So great opportunities. Again, 18 years of age. We received a waiver for citizenship. So if we have non-citizens, they can apply for jobs. We have the ability to hire them if they have a language skill that we need, and we have no citizens with that language skill in that particular area. So we are requesting that non-citizens, if they're interested, to apply and to ensure that they put all their language skills, okay? And that's it. Straightforward, very easy. The majority of jobs, we're going to hire 500,000 people nationwide to work on one operation, and that operation will begin in mid-May. So we're going to start calling people offering them positions in the beginning of March. So if you haven't applied, it's not too late. We've already started hiring for some other operations. We go out and we visit nursing homes and college dormitories. We visit jails and prisons and military barracks. So we need to hire a smaller amount of people to do that over the next couple months. But again, the largest operation we conduct starts in May, which means we're going to start hiring people in March. So now's the time to get your application in, okay? 2020census.gov/jobs. All right, so share that information about jobs. The second thing I would ask when you leave here tonight is to start the conversation about the census in your community. And you've already heard the message. The census is safe, the census is easy, and the census is important. Okay, and I want to go through those again because they're worth repeating. The census is safe. Every piece of data we collect on the census is protected under federal law. A federal law that was put in place in 1954 called Title 13. Title 13 basically states that the Census Bureau can never release information to anyone that could identify an individual or a household. All right? I can never release your data, your household's data. So what do we release? We release data at a higher statistical summary level. We release data at the city level, at the census tract level, at a congressional district level. We can never release information at the person or household level. We've been taken to federal court numerous times over the past 7 decades, and the Census Bureau has won every time. Local, state, federal law enforcement can never access our data at any time for any reason. Homeland Security and ICE can never access our data at any time for any reason. The Patriot Act does not supersede Title 13. So know your data is safe. If you come and work for us, everyone who works on a census has to take an oath of confidentiality for life. Meaning, if I were to release information that could identify an individual or household, I will be in prison for up to 5 years, and I will be fined up to $250,000. And that's not just while I work for the Census Bureau, it's for life. We take this seriously. The public's trust is the foundation of an accurate census, so know that the census is safe. The census is easy, as was mentioned earlier, 4 ways to respond in 2020. Online, the first time ever, every household across the nation can respond online, formatted for a smartphone and for a tablet. All right? Over the phone, first time ever, every household can call their information in over the phone. We're not calling you, but you can call the Census Bureau. Okay? The third way, every household that wants to fill it out on paper, because that's the way they've done it for the past few decades, every household will get that opportunity if that's how they want to fill out their census. So online, over the phone, on paper, we call that self-response. It's the highest quality data we ever get at the lowest possible cost. Because the fourth way we count people is when we go knock on doors. So starting in mid-May, we're going to knock on the door of every household that has yet to fill out their census. That's the 500,000 people we have to hire nationwide. And we ask them the same questions that they could fill out online, over the phone, or on paper. It is a short form only census, very basic information. We ask for your name. We ask for your age and your date of birth. We ask for your race and your ethnicity. We ask whether or not you're of Hispanic origin. We ask for your gender. We ask for your tenure, whether you own or rent your home. And then we ask for your relationship to the first person that's listed on your form, whoever you put first, mother, father, son, daughter, roommate. That's all we ask on a census. It's important to know what we don't ask. We never ask for social security numbers. We never ask for bank or credit card information, and we never ask for money. If you see the word census with any of those things, it's a scam. There are scams every decade in the years ending in 0 when a census rolls around. And it's important that you're aware so you can share this message with your community. Okay? So we have the census is safe, we have the census is easy, and now let's again highlight the importance of the census. So we talk about 2 things, representation and funding. All right? The number of congressional seats each state has in the U.S. House of Representatives is based upon the census data. All right. If we get an undercount, if we don't get the count we need, it's possible the state of New Jersey could lose a congressional seat. That's your representation, right? States will use the 2020 data for their redistricting, for drawing their school districts, for drawing their voting precincts. Businesses will use this data as a foundation to plan where they're going to expand, where they're going to open up businesses. All right. So it's important to make decisions. And then, of course, the funding. As was mentioned, over $675 billion of federal funding is disseminated every year based upon formulas that use census data. So if roads are important to you, if your children's education is important to you, if elderly care is important to you, if Medicaid and Medicare and food stamps and WIC are important to you, Head Start and National School Lunch Program, CDBG grants, if those things are important to you, the census has to be important. All right? I'd like to explain what an undercount is. Now, typically an undercount happens in communities, minorities, people who speak a language other than English, renters, children under the age of 5, believe it or not, is the fastest growing undercounted group we have based upon the last census. People aren't including, their young children on the form. And think about that. Imagine you have a school of 100 kids. And let's say in the 2020 census, only 80 of those kids get counted. For some reason, the other 20 don't, okay? For the next 10 years, we get one chance every 10 years. For the next 10 years, that school is going to get 80% of the funding it deserves for all 100 of those kids. So an undercount doesn't just affect the 20 kids who weren't counted, it affects the entire community. Now apply that to your neighborhood and what's important to you. And imagine people who are missed, people who choose not to fill out their census form. Imagine all the important programs that your neighbors may be using, that your relatives may be using. All right? All of you in this room are trusted voices. Whether you share this conversation at work, or at church, or at your favorite restaurant, or just with family and friends. We need you to start the conversation now that the census is safe, that the census is easy, and that the census is important. Because the next 10 years, and all the funding that your communities deserve, will be based upon a complete and accurate census in 2020. Okay? So I know I threw a lot out at you there. I think we open it up to questions now. Any questions we can address for you on the census?
She was first.
Hi, good evening. My name is Linda Lee and I live in the South Ward. Oh, excuse me. Hi, my name is Linda Lee and I live in the South Ward. I love you, John. Love you. You were talking about the call centers that people could call in to voice their information. Is that one call center or you have multiple call centers?
Yeah, great question. So in March, in fact, the census, and I'm glad you raised that question, the census starts March 12th. All right? Now, so census, you hear about Census Day. Census Day is April 1st. So all the questions on the form, we're asking you about this address as of April 1st, 2020. We're taking a snapshot in time. What does our country look like at one point in time? And that's April 1st. But we're going to start the process the week beginning March 12th. So we're going to start mailing out information. You can go online, you can call it in over the phone. In the packet that we mail out, we're going to include a list of 13 different toll-free telephone numbers, one for each language that we support. So both online and over the phone will be available in English and 12 non-English languages. So if you call the English or the Spanish line, you're going to go through an IVR system. We're going to try to address your question with the use of an IVR system, an automated system. If you want to give your information over the phone, then you're connected to a person. All right. For all the other languages besides English and Spanish, if you call the Korean line as an example, or the Portuguese line as an example, someone who speaks Portuguese will pick up the phone and immediately converse with you in Portuguese. So we have, I think, 12 call centers across the nation that will be staffed up with anticipation during the beginning of this. Hundreds and hundreds of call employees that will be taking calls if that's the way you choose to complete your 2020 census. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Brenda, and I would like to know for the people that are going to work, if it affect if they take SSI and it benefit welfare. Thank you.
Yeah, so we did receive waivers for SNAP, TANF. Trying to think of the other waiver. I don't know off the top of my head because we received the federal waivers, and then it's up to the state to determine whether or not they want to accept that waiver for state employees. I don't have it. I will look it up before the end of the night, and I'll provide that information to you. But I believe we have at least one waiver in place. Because they're short-term temporary jobs, it should not affect your any benefits you're receiving because it is such a short-term position. Thank you for the question.
There's a question on the application for the jobs themselves that men are being asked to enroll in the selective service. Is that mandatory?
Yeah, so selective service, and I didn't remember this. I applied a couple years ago just to see what the application would look like. But back when I was in high school, before you turn 18 years of age, all males had to apply to selective service. I didn't remember doing that, but there's a link in our employment application where you can check. You enter in your social security number, and it'll actually give you your selective service number. So it's a requirement before you turn, I think, either when or before you turn 18 years of age, all males have to file for selective service. But 18 to 26. Okay, thank you. But yes, for males, it is a requirement, sir.
Good night. My name is Dolores Colon. My question is, you have to be fully bilingual in order to work for the census or not?
Do you have to be fully bilingual? No, not at all. All the training's done in English. And then if people have, language skills in other, especially in areas in which we're really struggling to find someone with that language skill at all, we can hire them as a translator. So they won't necessarily go through the training, but they get paid the same rate, and they would basically escort one of our employees and then serve as a translator.
So that means that I have to be with another person and say, in the case that we are in Latin area and the people just speak in Spanish, what are we gonna do in that case?
No, so in the instance in which you're bilingual, you can speak Spanish, you can go by yourself. I'm only talking about in an area where, let's say it's Russian and we don't have any Russian speakers nearby.
Yeah.
We could get a translator to join you to actually translate so you could finish your workload. Yeah, but no, you wouldn't need anyone to go with you if you're bilingual.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Hi, my name is Shayna. My question is, she said you got to have a background check. If your background check, your record is from 31 years ago, will you still be hired?
Yeah, absolutely. So we don't have like a public matrix of if you did this long ago, you'll clear. We tell everyone to apply. All right, it doesn't hurt to apply. If you're called and you select the position, basically we'll call you, we offer you the position. Then we give you a list. Basically, you have the ability to schedule where you want to get your fingerprints taken. It's free. We have our own sites. You don't have to go to a police station or anything like that. You go to one of our sites, and we take your electronic fingerprints and send them on up. We do a quick FBI background check. One of the things we're doing differently in 2020 is we're hiring people. Remember I said we're going to call you in March, and the job starts in May. We're hiring people 60 days in advance so that if there is a hit on your background check, you have time to adjudicate it prior to training. We don't want people to lose, if they had it, maybe it's just, and we're learning from people, sometimes they forgot to file a piece of paperwork to close out their case, or they weren't aware there was something out there on their record. So we want to give them ample time. So if something happened a long time ago, more than likely you're going to be fine on a background check. But these are federal positions, and they are public positions, so we do have to take that into account.
That actually takes 6 months to a year. I just lost a job for that, working with the school bus company, and it takes 6 months to a year to get your, record expunged or whatever.
Yeah. So there are some things, and I don't know. I'll check to see if we have a handout, because we work with communities of those who've maybe been recently incarcerated that are looking to get back into the workforce, and there are things you can do in advance before we even call you to make the offer to check your record and things like that. So I could share that information. You could share it with anyone you know who may be interested in that. Yeah. Thank you.
I was interested, my name is Rachel Bonds, and I was interested in a position as a call center type person. Do you have those kind of positions available, and where would they be?
Yeah, so we have an office in Newark. That's really an operational offices. So we have 8 offices across the state of New Jersey, and in those offices we have managers, and then we have supervisors and clerical staff. So those positions, when you apply online, it asks if you want to be considered for office and or field positions. And then with both of those, do you want to be considered for supervisory positions? So based upon how you answer your application will determine what specific positions you are for. But we don't have any call centers where we have staff calling out to households.
And would this also be within that 6 to 8 week job period, the same as the census taking?
No, so the office jobs are a little bit more, little bit longer. They're 40-hour-a-week jobs for the most part. We do hire night shifts, maybe 20 hours a week and on weekends. And our offices will stay open. Right now, we're scheduled to close them September 26th, so it's a little bit longer term.
Okay, thank you.
Of this year, yep.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Other questions? So I want to mention something before I turn it back over to Deputy Mayor. Pat Green Alston. Pat, wave your hand. She's one of our partnership specialists. She is your, give her a hand. She's awesome. In addition to all that the mayor and deputy mayor are offering and all the support, this is another resource that you have. She works for the Census Bureau, but she works throughout Newark. She's out there she goes to churches to make presentations. She helps people host recruiting job fairs. She'll speak to any organization that may be interested in learning more about the census. So please take advantage of these resources. Get her card. If you haven't met her yet, get her card. If you are interested in maybe your church or you have a recreation center or an organization you belong to that you would like for them to learn more about the census, we offer that to you. She also has some great handouts there that if you're interested in taking some maybe for your community or an event you may be going to and you would like some additional handouts to be able to provide, she can get that information for you. So it's another direct resource you have to make sure you have what you need to support the 2020 census. Okay? But I think we'll hang out here for a little while. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to see one of us. And I look forward to working with all of you, making sure Newark gets the most complete and accurate count that it deserves. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Director. And we are honored today also to have our Congressman Donald Payne Jr. with us. So at this time, please help me welcome him to the podium.
Thank you. Good evening. It's a real honor and a privilege for me to be here tonight with you on such an important issue. And, I'd like to thank the gentleman from the Census for the federal government for being here and giving out the information. But let me just say this to you in this room that live here. This is important. This is very important. The job that we do here in our community will decide how money is divvied and separated all over the nation. And the better our count is, the better the resources that go to Washington, that you send to Washington, come back to the state of New Jersey. We're talking about $800 billion. $800 billion. So we have to make sure that everybody's counted, everybody's Pookie on the couch and rah-rah on the corner, and everybody has to be counted. Because it really depends on what we get back in our community from the federal government. And some of us are concerned about the effort that not the Census Bureau is making, but that the president and his administration wants to see us counted. So the state is also undergirding this effort with another additional $9 million to make sure that we have the resources we need to do in our community to count. So listen, this is a great opportunity to make some money, to do something for your community while you're making money, and just that important that I had to be here to make sure I let you understand that when I go to Washington fighting for those dollars, if they could say to me, well, you know, based on the census, we don't see the numbers or the need there, that's a problem. So help me help us by making sure that we get everybody counted. And people in the community are the ones that people trust. They're going to trust you when you come to them and say, nah, this is for real. You know, some of us in the government, they look, oh yeah, y'all just talking that what y'all talk, you know, you politicians. But understanding coming from you, people they trust, their family, their friends, their neighbors, people they've known for a long time, goes a long way. So help us get the money back to Newark and New Jersey that we need, all right? This is important. And I just wanted to stop by to say hello and thank you and pass that message along. But it's on us now. If we don't do what we need to do in this community, and when we get the cuts, we see the cuts that the federal government makes in this area, just remember this night. Remember the census. All right? All right, take care. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman. Okay, we have a computer here. If you want to apply for the census today, you could do so. We have a computer set up in the back. And also, for future events, we're going to have more than 40 presentations throughout the city before April 1st. Follow the city webpage, City of Newark, and look for Census 2020. All the information is there. But if you want, you could just walk into City Hall, walk into room 221. That's our office. And you could just walk in and we'll help you fill out any form that you have, or if you have a question, we could also help you. I want everyone to know also that every school is going to be open for the census to help people fill out the census, that every Newark library, it's going to be open for Census 2020 for in each ward of the city. In the north, in the east, in the south, you could just walk in and there's going to be somebody there to help you fill out the census. We're also going to have community centers open. We're also going to have churches open. We're going to have social clubs open. We're going to list that list of centers that you could go and fill out the census at the end of this month. So when you get your form and you don't know how to fill out the form or you have any questions, you're going to be able to walk into the Newark Library or any social club or any community center and even City Hall and have somebody help you fill out the census. Make sure you get counted. Our city has to be counted, and we'll continue to give you information throughout the year. Thank you, and God bless you all.